presumably read. And let me present my little slideshow. This is really dry material. And so I would encourage you on all my material to do this, but please, if you have questions, please ask as we go along the way with this stuff, because you'll help the material itself. This first stuff is just stuff we have to get out of the way with, because right now you're learning, like Ms. McDowell was talking about, you're learning like to drape and sheets and all this really basic stuff. It's much more fun when we get into structural anatomy, which is what is the core of our program. Anyway, so we're going to talk about, chapter 3 is about tools of the trade. And then after this chapter, by the way, we move on to chapters 7, 8, and 9. Not all at once, but for those of you that care. And then after that, we get into trail guide. So anyway, let's go through this. I'm going to go through it kind of quickly. And it's not because you can't ask questions, but because some of it is just like this. Tools of the trade include a massage chair and a massage table. I think that most of you have kind of figured that out by now, that you might have a table in the room that clients lay on, and that you might sit in a chair from time to time. Yeah, I don't think we have to beat that into the ground. So, let's talk about tables though for a second, if you ever buy a table. I believe your tables are 32 inches wide, the ones that you got from us. I sure hope so. And for what it's worth, I would never get a narrower table. So, because, two reasons. One is you might have a very wide client, and you want them to be comfortable. But even when you don't, their arms tend to fall off the table, you know, because of the width of it and things like that. And when I've got extra table height, let me, speaking of demoing, Speaking of table height, now by the way, some places say this is a no-no, but I've constantly got my leg up here while I'm working on something. I'm not afraid to use the table as part of my body positioning stuff. So when I'm working on a client, quite often I'm using the table itself. I'm leaning into the table. I'll put a leg up on the table. Now by the way, if you work for Massage Envy Elements, they'll be like, don't do this because they think it's sexually suggestive. Right? I don't have my leg on the client's leg though. I've just got my leg over here on the table because I'm doing something. Sometimes it's extremely appropriate. By the way, this table is extremely high right now. But my point is, I like the extra room on the table. And the general rule, by the way, about table height, I'm sure you all read in the book, is this hanging fist thing. This table's way too high. My fist should be down here and just touching the table. That's a good general rule, but it's not a good specific rule. The specific rule is, if you're strong and heavy like me, then I like my table really high because I don't have to bend over. I don't have to use my back, right? If I need more power, I drop the table. Because the lower the table, the more power I've got, but actually the harder it is on my back. And yes, you use a proper stance, and yes, you use the horse stance, and yes, you use the bow and arrow stance, and all the stances that they made up names for and stole from yoga and all that kind of stuff. But the fact is, when I need more power, I drop the table down and now I'm over them more. But if my back's tired, I put it up higher. And for me, I usually can have it up pretty high. That's just a convenience thing. But anyway, get a wide table, get the widest table they make because you like it's just nice to have extra space on the table. It's nice to have extra space for the client, all that kind of stuff. And just my opinion, by the way. But yeah, and it's good to have high density foam on the table. You actually don't want your table too soft. Of course you want the client to be comfortable, but you want them to be resisted so when you're pressing against them, there's something resisting them. So high density foam tends to be better, and it tends to spring back more so that it doesn't slowly collapse over time. Some things that your book won't tell you to that I really recommend is that you might want to do something to protect your table. So over time, oils get through the sheets onto the table. And that's not actually a big health concern because if you're putting clean sheets over the table, your client's never coming in contact with that. But that oil affects your table over time, right? That oil eventually gets down in here. And I'm trying to raise it up here again. That oil eventually gets down and ruins your vinyl and stuff like that. So having some kind of table topper is a really good idea. We have heating pads here that we replace every so often. That's helpful. But the other thing you can do that's super cheap that makes your table really neat, if your table's really firm, you can go out and get egg crate foam from like Walmart. And they call it egg crate foam because it looks like you could put little eggs in it. Or it looks like sound reducing foam that people put on their walls to cut down on foam there, sound there. And what's nice is this thing costs like $10 and you put it underneath your sheets and it kind of protects your table. And then every year or so you throw it away. It's a disposable thing that after a year or so of using, you throw it away and you put something new on your table. Just a thought. It's just a little massage therapy, you know, kind of advice. Okay. I don't like doing this, but I do sometimes. I feel like sometimes they ask you questions that will never affect your ability to do massage. So your book says most tables are 30 to 31 inches wide. I underlined it in this slide because they're going to give you a test question on that. Am I trying to give away all the test questions to you? No. But do I respect you enough to appreciate when a test question is not helping make you a better human being? Yes. And so I reward you for paying attention to my lectures by underlining some things that I know are going to come up on the test. And some things I think are important, I'll talk about them, but other things I'm like, I don't care what most table widths are, I care what my table width is. I mean, that's just a useless piece of information that they're asking to make sure that you've read the book, I guess, in that section. But you guys already did the questions at the end of the chapter. I know this will show up on the test, so it's a little game we play, but it's a good game, okay? So I hope that makes sense. Anyway, that's the answer they want. I don't even know if that's true. You guys want wide, 32 or 33. Let's not worry about table height. Yeah, high density foam is really good. I just talked about that. They think it's important to describe a word called loft, which is the thickness of the padding. This is another thing I underlined because you will never hear another massage therapist use the word loft for the rest of your life. I'm sorry, I've now wasted another 30 seconds of time you will never get back. This is the thing I don't like about massage textbooks. But it does make you think about stuff like just how thick should my table, like my stuff be? Like I want my clients to be comfortable, but I don't want them to sink down into a cloud and disappear and I can't find them. That's not really helpful. Yeah. So they tell you to avoid PVCs, which are called... Yeah, go ahead.
Could you go back to that last slide real quick?
Yes. Yes. I just will. By golly. By the way, if money is no object, I even recommend that you guys get 2 tables. I like to have one set up in my house for my home massage, and then I leave one set up in my car, especially if you're a new therapist. I don't mean set up in my car, it's in my car. And that way, when you're out driving around and you're all the way over in Mesa and your client in Mesa says, hey, is there any chance I can get a last-minute massage? And you're like, yes, you can, because I've got a table in my car and I've got sheets with me and I'm going to go ahead and make $200 while I'm out in Mesa here before I go back to Phoenix or Gilbert or Chandler or Sun City or wherever it is. So I just think it's very helpful if you kind of keep your car stocked. That's just a little side note. Okay. Avoid polyvinyl chlorides because they're bad for the environment. I have no opinion on this whatsoever. I mean, I would avoid them, but it's just not a big deal. Most tables out there I've found don't even use this stuff anymore. So I don't know when the author decided to write this. I'll have to ask him. I'm Facebook friends with the author of the textbook. So we occasionally chat about stuff. Okay. Chlorine bleach is actually one of the best disinfectants, and I highly recommend it. It's not recommended for routine cleaning because it chews through stuff. It eats stuff up. It'll eat your sheets up. We all of you that do laundry know this. All the moms out there know this. However, it kills just about every type of virus and bacteria we know. Hot water and chlorine bleach kill stuff. And I tell you this because when you're selecting sheets for your clients, you have two ways you can go. You can get really nice high quality sheets and the clients will love them, but they don't stay high quality very often and they don't look very high quality for very long if you're using bleach on them, and you probably want to use bleach. So I kind of recommend you buy low quality sheets often. You probably buy low quality sheets, and after 6 months you get more low quality sheets and you turn the other ones into rags. Just a thought. Just a thought. Anyway, chlorine bleach is a good way to go for disinfecting. Yeah. And for massage therapists, by the way, not to oversimplify things, you clean your sheets and you wash your hands and arms, and you're good to go. You really are. I know that sounds like I'm not being, but it's really important, by the way, that you wash your sheets and wash your hands and arms, but that's it. If you do those things between every single client, you are really good to go. It's very hard to, I mean, you should wipe down your table at the end of the day and all that kind of stuff, but that works. I've worked in really high-end, high-volume spas, and if you keep the laundry clean and your therapists keep their hands and arms clean, you don't have any problems with infection whatsoever. Okay. Let's talk about face cradles. Yeah? That's fun. Boom. Sorry, I got books on here. Let's get those stuff out of here. Let's think about the human neck. Yes. Now, many clients, for some reason, like to have the face cradle kind of up like this. Yeah? They do. But that kind of makes your neck, it makes your neck go back like this. It's a terrible way to have your neck. We don't want people's necks back like this. We actually want them forward so they're opened up so we can work on them. So I'm not going to make a client do something they don't want to do, but I like to actually encourage them to have their face cradle not even horizontal. Hold on, this one's right there. But if anything, down. I'd like their head going down because I want to open up their neck. I want to start opening up their neck. Most people work a desk job. Most people work, geez, getting this thing all the right heights is killing me. Most people work a desk job and they're like this all the time already. They're already hyperextending their neck. And we want them to be flexing their neck. Yeah. We want clients to be flexing their neck for massage purposes, like in the face cradle, which is this, not extending their neck, which is back. Yeah. So, preview of coming attractions, when we learn about movements of the body. This is a flexion. This is an extension. Yeah. So, Miss McDowell, what's this?
Flexion.
Yes, what's this?
Extension.
Thank you. Miss Hawks, what's this? Miss Hawks? You're smiling.
Yeah.
What am I doing right now?
Tilting your head down.
Yes, that's good. Hold on, Miss Hawks. Listen up for a second. And don't worry, by the way, this is what I kind of warned you guys I'll do yesterday. Miss McDowell, what am I doing right now?
I don't know if it was inflection or flexion.
Flexion.
Okay.
Flexion.
Flexion. And what's this, Miss McDowell?
Extension.
Extension. Thank you. Miss Hawks, what am I doing right now?
Flexion.
Yep. And what am I doing right now?
Extension.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Placencia, what am I doing right now?
That is flexion.
Yes, sir, it is. Thank you very much. And what am I doing now?
Extension.
Yeah. Flexions normally happen in front of your body. Look where my head's going, in front of my body. Not always, but normally. Extensions normally happen going behind my body. They're heading that way. Thank you. Thank you very much. Miss Munoz, what am I doing right now?
Flexion,
That's right. What am I doing now?
extension,
Yeah. What am I doing now?
nodding,
Rocking out. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Cool. All right, everybody. So we will talk more about flexion and extension later. But anyway, things to think about. So we want our client's head slightly flexed if we could. We don't ever want to argue with the client, but I'm always recommending to the client, right? Always recommending stuff like that. Because they live usually in an extension, or what we call hyperextension sometimes. But anyway, extension. Okay. Oh wow, they even had a picture back here. Yeah. Little neck flexion. Huh. That's nice. Okay. You guys have used bolsters in class yet? Bolsters are the big round stuff here. Yep, we have half bolsters too. When I went to school, I'm not kidding you, we didn't have these. Yeah, we just threw people on the floor and just started rubbing them. Anyway, we really didn't have bolsters though. And maybe they did, I don't know, we didn't learn about it. We put bolsters under people's ankles when they're face down because it helps relieve some pressure in their low back. And we put it under their knees when they're face up because it helps relieve some pressure on their low back. Those are really common ways to do that. By the way, though, in massage, we don't call it face up or face down. What do we call it instead of massage? Somebody. Anybody.
Face down is supine or terpene.
Flip that.
Oh, face up is terpene.
Mm-hmm.
And face down is in prone.
Yeah. Pretty darn good, buddy. So, here's how you guys are going to remember that because every massage therapist in the world uses this all the time. Like it's just common knowledge. So, this is called prone. Face down is prone. I remember that because when you're face down, you're prone to having stuff happen to you because you can't see anything. You're kind of prone. You're like, right? Most massage therapists remember supine as supine on your spine. Supine. Supine on my spine. Yeah? We also use it for terms of our hands here. Believe it or not, my hands right now are prone, and my hands right now are supine. Here's how I remember that. If I was holding a cup, I usually say a bowl, but I don't have a bowl here. If I was holding a cup of soup, this would be supine. If I started to turn over, I'd be prone to dumping it out. I can't show you because there's actually coffee in here, right? Supine, holding a bowl of soup, prone to dumping it out. Yeah? Yeah. Thank you, Miss Trotter. I appreciate the affirmative nod. So, Miss Trotter, how am I lying right now?
Supine.
Yeah. How am I lying now?
Proline.
Yeah, prone.
Prone.
Yeah. How are my hands right now?
Supine.
Yeah, how are they now?
Prone.
Prone. It's a good second day. Yeah, thank you. Miss Suriel, what position are my hands in right now?
That is supine,
That is correct. How are they now?
prone.
Yeah, cool. Miss Allure, what's my hand right now? I couldn't hear you. Miss Allure? You were smiling all confident at me. I'm like, oh, I just realized she thinks I can hear.
Sorry,
Supine.
Thank you, ma'am.
Prone.
Prone. Cool. All right. Cool. Let's move right along. Da-da-da. Jumping past stuff because it's not that important. So, actually, Miss McDowell, this will be important to you because it has to do with draping, believe it or not. The type of sheets you have make draping harder or easier. Really slippery sheets actually make draping easier because they slide up people's legs easier. They don't stay fixed. You have to tuck them over and over again, but they drape really well because they slide around legs and arms. Whereas the sheets like we have in our labs, not the ones you guys are using, but these flannel sheets, they're very difficult to drape with, but they stay stuck. I like that. They kind of catch on each other. So it's just a thought. So you'll find your own sheets and you'll get kind of used to using them. And when you use somebody else's sheets, it'll be really difficult. And yeah. I do agree with the book that says you should avoid see-through fabrics. People feel naked on the table already. And that's actually why you'll see it like on my table here set up, I've got a towel on top. The main reason this towel is here, it's called a modesty towel, and it's literally to make the client feel more covered. They've got a sheet underneath it, right? The towel just makes you feel more covered. You feel terribly naked when you're underneath a sheet. And you drop a little weight on somebody and it makes a big difference. Plus, it's very handy to have a towel around, don't get me wrong. We use it for all sorts of other stuff in massage, but they call these modesty towels usually, and they just make you feel more comfortable. Try it on yourself sometime. Try laying, take all your clothes off, lay underneath a sheet there, just face up. You're gonna feel darn naked. Throw a towel over the top, it really helps. I don't know why. A little extra stuff, yeah? That's your homework. It's weird. Okay, I'm kidding, that's not your homework. Yes, towels should be made of terry cloth. I don't have anything else to say about towels, except they're really good to have. And the bigger the better, actually. And then, by the way, just so you know, if the client's hand, if this touches the client, it's got to be washed, and it usually touches the client. So their hand comes out on the table and touches this thing from underneath the sheet. That's it. This gets washed with your laundry. Anything you put over the client gets washed. Yeah? Cool. Questions so far? Comments? Thoughts? I know it's riveting. I know.
Where does the bolster go? Does it go under the sheets or directly onto the client's?
Oh my God. Yeah. Mr. Blygen, thank you. A really good teacher would have mentioned that. Unfortunately, you didn't get one of those. You got me. So, you're absolutely right. It goes under the sheet because if the bolster touches the client, that's fine, but you have to sanitize the bolster now. So the bolster normally goes underneath the bottom sheet. So we would put it all the way under here. Right? It's okay if it touches the client, but you have to sterilize the bolster then. You know, you have to get sterilized and spray it. So most people put it all the way underneath the bottom sheet to help keep it out of touch of the client. Really good question. Yeah. Keep those coming. Normally it's Mr. Brown, but he hasn't been asking any questions today. I don't know, he got them all out of his system yesterday. I don't know what happened. All right. Cool. Lotion. Oh my God. Do I have lotion? Hold on. Let me show you. Don't go anywhere, everybody. Oh, good. I do. Good. Oh, boy. Okay. So, lotion. All right. Lotion. It's designed to reduce friction between your hands and the client's skin. Yeah? Because it hurts when your skin gets pulled, right? However, what I wish most massage therapists did with this is throw it away. Because what they use is too much damn lotion. If that's you, don't do it. You ruin your massage. We want traction on the skin. I want just enough lotion just enough lotion that I'm not irritating your skin, and that's it. I actually want to pull your skin, but gently, gently. So I can see some of the faces right there. You're like, ew. No, I don't mean like pull it like every little hair and things like that, but you don't want so much glide that you've got this wing kind of thing. I'm not trying to ski off the client. I actually want to catch the skin. The skin is fascia. We're going to learn later about fascia, and it's extremely important you don't overdo lotion. If somebody's hairy, you have to use more lotion. I get that. I'm not saying don't use any, but I'm saying don't use a lot. Truly. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Hold on, sorry. Yes, Miss Walker.
So a little bit of friction is good.
A little bit of friction is good. Yeah, don't get me wrong, if the client's wincy, that's a problem, but a little bit of friction is good. Yeah. So why might a little bit of friction be good? Miss Walker.
Maybe it actually allows you to get into the skin more, like massage the skin better.
Yeah, that's a great answer. For one thing, it gives you higher control. You can't do deep tissue if you've got too much lotion because you just slide right off. So forget about it. If a therapist puts on lots of lotion on my back right in the beginning, I'm like, well, there goes the massage. We're never going to get the depth that we need because there's just no control. It's like driving on an icy street, right? So that's one reason. Second is your skin is part of the problem. It's one of the things we're working on. People's skin gets stuck to the lower layers of their body. It's a very significant thing. And we want to catch some of that skin so that we move it along. Third is we want some friction because friction increases blood flow. And blood is what? There's my yoga person. She'll tell me.
Life.
Blood is life. Blood is life. Yeah. Yeah, we want actually to get the skin a little bit red. Again, I'm not trying to irritate a client. I don't ever want to irritate a client. I have to make my money off clients. If the client wants more lotion, they can have it. But it's just one of those things that therapists tend to overdo. Overdo. Don't use a lot. You can always put on more. Don't do a lot of lotion. That's a little tap Scott thing. So, unfortunately, you're going to get a lot of those. Do recommend hypoallergenic products. Because the last thing you want to do is rub something over somebody's entire body and have them have an allergic reaction. And for that reason, by the way, anytime a client comes to me and says, hey, do you mind using this stuff instead? I'm like, absolutely, I'd be happy to use that stuff instead. Because I'm not actually worried about me having an allergic reaction, I'm worried about them. I'd rather them bring something they're comfortable with. But just don't use anything funky, especially stuff with nut oils. All right? I love nuts. I am nuts. But nut oils are the things that people have some of the worst allergic reactions to. If you've ever seen somebody with a peanut allergy, it's deadly. So anything with nut oils, get rid of it. Stick with actually coconut, which is not a nut, will work really well. Think about stuff that you can eat, by the way, too, because, your skin is an absorbing organ in your body. So jojoba's great. Things like that. Lots of companies use sweet almond, but it's sticky, heavy, cheap, and it's a nut oil. So anyway, find something that's hypoallergenic. And I also recommend not having 37 different oils with you because if somebody does have an allergic reaction, you want to know what they had on them. And this way you can be like, well, this is all I use, so it must be this. And you can give it to them and they can take it to the hospital and find out what's going on. No, I've actually, by the way, done massage 26 years and I've never had a problem. So, but I have on rare occasions at the spa I used to manage seen problems. And so allergies are something you have to be really careful about. Okay, let's see. Ms. Walker, by the way, you didn't have more to say, right? You had your hand up still. I just didn't want to ignore you. No, it's fine. I just thought there might be more, brilliance coming forth. Mr. Brown, yes, sir.
So yesterday when I was reading the chapter and answering the questions, it said that the exact thing it said lavender, jasmine, and I don't remember the last scent that it said helps produce
relaxation.
Yeah, is that a proven thing for those specific scents? Like is it something within the scent that causes that?
Yeah, it is pretty proven. I was trying to think, there's a lot of stuff in massage therapy, it depends on what you mean by proven, but there's actually some scientific evidence to prove that aromatherapy has some real benefits. Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah, vanilla. It was vanilla. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Miss McDowell. Anyway, the other nice thing about lavender too is lavender is considered universal aromatherapy oil, and it's good for just about anything. The only problem with lavender is everybody uses lavender now, but yeah, those things really do seem to make a difference. And if you want to, so here's a problem. So the problem is there are some people that absolutely hate aromatherapy. They hate scents. They're hypersensitive to scents. And if you get one of those clients and you're a therapist that uses scents, it's all over your place. Like, you can't get rid of the smell. So if you use lavender, for example, in all your oils and it's in your room, it's going to be in the floor everywhere. It's kind of hard to get rid of it. If I come over and I'm like, oh, I just can't handle lavender, then you can't really work on me. There's no way to get rid of that. And that's the downside. The upside, however, is that you guys are all going to become your own brand. I really mean that. So you're going to be the Mr. Brown brand. And I'm going to associate that with your massage, with your customer service, with the way you dress when you come to my house. I actually think if you're doing alcohol, it helps to wear the same outfit every time. Clean it in between, but wear the same outfit because I'm associating that with your brand. And if your lotion has a certain scent, I actually associate that scent with your brand. And scent is a very powerful associating thing. So that's something to think about. The other thing you can do to make a little extra money is offers clients personalized aromatherapy blends. And so you'll actually blend up oil with aromatherapy in it for them. And they've got their own lavender vanilla mix, for example, or jasmine rosemary mix, or whatever. And that's not a bad thing to do. And then they've got their own kind of private bottle of oil. And it becomes kind of a special thing for them. Just things to think about. I don't really have an opinion either way, too. Just things to think about both ways. So, I hope that answers your question. Yeah? Maybe? Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about cross-contamination. Because this is kind of important. Because I said all you got to do is wash your hands and your sheets, everything's fine. That's true, assuming you haven't cross-contaminated. So, if this is my bottle of lotion, and I put it on my hand here, and I give you a massage, and I pick it up again and squirt it on my hand and give you a massage, later when you leave, some of you is on this. I have contaminated this outside this bottle. So I can go wash my hands and my sheets, but the minute I grab this bottle again, I'm grabbing my last client. And we're trying not to mix our clients. That's what cross-contamination is. Does that make sense? You're just nodding at me to make me happy. Maybe. Yeah. Cross-contamination, though. It's usually transferring one thing to another thing and then transferring off that to another thing. Yeah. So doorknobs are great at cross-contamination. It always cracks me up when people are worried about feet. I'm like, I'm worried about hands. And the minute you wash your hands and you touch the doorknob, you've already cross-contaminated again, right? So anyway, just think about that. That's why we wiped out our oil bottles. That's the reason we wiped out our oil bottles. It's also the reason why you'll see some therapists use creams. If they're doing it right, they scoop out the cream into a little cup and they use the cup to work on you. If they're reaching into the container of cream, that is very, very, very bad. Because they're rubbing you, they've got you all over their hands, they're sticking it back in the cream, they're getting more, and they're doing that with every single client. That cream's got hundreds of clients in there. Yes, that's right. Think about that, Miss Trotter, next time you're getting a massage. Hundreds of people being rubbed all over your back, their feet being rubbed on your face. Yeah, it's disgusting. Anyway, that's cross-contamination. Yep. So wipe down your oil bottles, anything you touch in between. That's all. Your oils will last longer if you store them in cool, dark locations away from sunlight. Sunlight destroys oils. Heat destroys oils. So if you keep a bottle of oil in your car, like I told you to keep all your stuff ready so you're doing that massage out in Mesa, that's fine, but I do want to let you know that that oil will go bad. If it's a small bottle, it's no big deal, but if you buy oil by the gallon, which some massage therapists do to refill their small bottles, keep that gallon. I recommend you keep it in the refrigerator. It'll last a really long time, months and months and months. Yeah, just a good way to go. It's it's a food product basically. Yes, did somebody raise their hand? I heard the hand thing, but I didn't see him.
Yes. How do you know if your lotion has gone bad?
Oh, yeah, it smells bad. Yeah, and if it doesn't smell bad, you don't have to worry about it. It smells rancid. It'll smell, it's not horrible, but it smells noticeably off. You'll smell it and you'll be like, oh. You can probably go into your kitchen right now, and if you go through the oils, like you probably have a bottle of oil somewhere in the back that you don't use very often or something, open it up and smell it. I bet you it's gone bad. Oil only lasts a few months or whatever. And so if you don't use it regularly, it'll go bad. Yeah, it smells stale. Stale's the best thing I can tell you. And by the way, I don't think oils last 18 months like your book does unless they're refrigerated. If they're refrigerated, I believe that. But they'll go bad 6 months sometimes. Okay, Mr. Brown, this is what you were talking about, aromatherapy, the use of fragrant essential oils by inhaling or blending with products such as lubricants for topical applications. So here's the deal. Again, these are really cool. Just don't use too much of them and don't use them straight. So if you buy high quality essential oils, they're very concentrated. Rose Absolute. Rose Absolute, to make a pound, I'm sorry, to make, I completely off there, to make 1 ounce, to make one little shot of Rose Absolute takes about 10,000 pounds of rose petals. Think about that for a second. 10,000 pounds. So a large truck weight worth of rose petals to make one little shot of Rose Absolute. So why is that significant? Well, because some stuff concentrated at that level can be bad for you, like eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is great in massage oil. It has this incredible bronchial opening quality to it. When you smell eucalyptus, it opens up your nasal passages, it opens up your bronchial passages. It's an antibacterial, kills bacteria. It's amazing. If you use it even at 5%, it can kind of burn somebody's skin, however. 3% is usually what you use. And by saying 3%, it means for every 100 drops of regular, boring, unscented oil, I've got 3 drops of eucalyptus, right? So it means in a gallon, I might have 1 shot of eucalyptus oil in a gallon. Not a lot. Because if you use it straight, some of these things can actually be a problem. Some of these things can actually be a problem. So, that reminds me, I should tell you about my eucalyptus story. Yeah, I really didn't have this planned, I just thought about it. Okay, so eucalyptus story. So let me stop sharing for just a second. We can always go back to the boring slide. Show in a second. So, I used to manage the massage therapists and estheticians, stuff like that at the Princess Spa. I used to be a massage therapist there too a long time ago. Anyway, and it's a really big spa now. But when I first started there, it was this cute little 6-room little massage spa, and it had like a men's side and a women's side, a little steam room and sauna over there, and it was very low key. And we used to have eucalyptus because you squirt it in the sauna, and we buy it by the gallon. And you squirt it in the sauna because when the steam hits it, sorry, not the sauna, the steam room. When the steam hits it, the eucalyptus is in the air, your lungs open up. It's a great thing to use in steam rooms too because it's antibacterial, and steam rooms tend to build up bacteria because they're warm and moist, right? So they're great breeding environments for bacteria actually. But anyway, so the eucalyptus is great in there. And we kind of keep it in a cabinet. And we, the spa attendant, we had spa attendants would come in there and squirt a little bit in the steam room and put it back away. And we used to have this spa attendant that we called Crazy Nancy. by the way, which I'm sure is a terrible name to call Crazy Nancy, but she was crazy. We liked her, but she was crazy. And she spoke no English. And I don't remember where Crazy Nancy was from too, but anyway, but she spoke like no English. And we had a guest come in late at night. It was a male guest come in late at night, and she knew she wasn't supposed to go in the men's locker room, but she wanted to explain to him about the steam room and about putting eucalyptus in there. So she handed him the bottle of eucalyptus oil and tried to explain to him that he should use this when he's in the steam room. He misunderstood her and thought he should apply the eucalyptus oil to his body and then go into the steam room. Which means he took a giant bottle with a gallon pump and he squirted it and lathered it on his body. And so, true story, I'm not even exaggerating a little bit. I finished up my massage and back and came through the spa room, and there was a man standing there like this, kind of spread eagle, kind of like this, naked, head to toe, bright red. And I mean like bright red. Head to toe, shivering, and I could start to see like blisters kind of forming on my skin. And he's like, she told me to put it on me. And I said, the what? And he's like, that. And then I got a whiff of the eucalyptus because it was coming off him. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. So he said, should I get in the shower? I said, sure. But in my head, eucalyptus, by the way, soaks in beautifully. Once it's on your skin, it's all over. It's not coming out of your skin. But anyway, he went to get in the shower. I called 911. We had to have paramedics come. He sued us. And with good reason, for like $50,000. Because we kind of, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Anyway, that's my eucalyptus story. So be careful about eucalyptus and don't use more than 5%. I even recommend 3% in your massage oils. And by the way, most aromatherapies don't go over 5%, but especially eucalyptus. Good times. Spas are fun. Any questions about that? No? No? Sorry, it's my graphic story for the day. Okay. Let's go back to our presentation. Oh, yes, Miss Suriel.
I got a question. Like, I will be afraid to use oils on people. Will it be a good idea to recommend or to put like one of those oil diffusers? Then if it's eucalyptus, you're not putting them in their skin, but at least they can smell if you go to their houses or something.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea. I think that's great. So you're saying this way you don't have to worry about putting it on their skin. This way it's in the air. Pretty hard to use too much of it. If they don't like it, you just stop using it. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very smart. Do that. Yeah. By the way, I love aromatherapy. I'm not against it, but you're right. That's a really safe way to use it. I like that. Yeah. Highly recommend it. Boom. Let's go back to the slideshow.
Oh, I had a question.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
So what happened to the staff who was it Mary who got the
Nancy,
got
crazy Nancy. I think they fired her. Yeah, but I mean, looking back on it, it really doesn't say good things about the company either, right? How they handle it and stuff like that. But I think they had other problems with her, besides this. This was, but I think this was the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. And I think they fired her. You have to understand, by the way, I'm not trying to be vague on purpose, but this was 20 years ago for me. But I think she got fired, poor thing. I actually really liked Nancy. I thought she was, I kind of like people when they're a little bit crazy. She was a lot of fun. But I think they had other problems with her. I think she was kind of difficult to manage. She was real feisty, and I liked it. But then, I suspect the lawsuit was the thing that kind of did it in. Yeah. By the way, that's good news too, and not the good news they let her go. It's good news that, by the way, almost every lawsuit I dealt with in a spa had nothing to do with the actual massage. It had to do with stuff happening before or after the massage. So that's just good news for all of you. I once had a lawsuit at the Princess where a therapist was pushing on somebody's neck and bending it like this, which is completely fine, that part. But the person said, ow, could you stop that? And they said, no, trust me, I'm going to go further. And that hurt them. That was a lawsuit. But that's the only time that I actually, we had a couple times massage therapists burned people with hot stones. But those are the only lawsuits where it was actually the massage therapist doing something in the massage. Most of the lawsuits were things like I slipped in the shower after the massage. That's what you get lawsuits for. And I hate to say, even at your house, like if you do get sued, it probably won't be for your massage. They'll slip from the oil going out your front door or something like that. That's what it's for. But I share that with you too to kind of reassure you that like don't worry, you're not going to get sued. It's very unusual actually to get sued as a massage therapist. Yes, Mr. Brown.
So in a situation like that where they slip leaving the house, if you're like, all right, be careful, you have the oil, stuff like that, is it still your fault?
Yeah, it's not even about it's your fault, by the way. I'm not a lawyer. The problem is it's still going to be a big problem for you, and could you actually get successfully sued? Yes. Because what happens is it happened on your property, and unfortunately things that happen on your property end up usually being your fault. You know, it's not, and that's not completely fair. You're absolutely right. So what you have to do for things like that is you would wipe the oil off clients' feet, and you try to avoid things that would allow them to slip easily, and you have steps properly labeled and things like that. You kind of avoid that stuff because you're right, it's not fair, and we live in a sue-happy country. We really do. But massage malpractice is extremely unusual. The actual massage is extremely unusual. Yeah. Okay.
So, can I?
Yeah,
can I
please,
ask a
Miss
question?
Estes. Yeah.
If we're going to people's homes, should we have insurance, like massage insurance?
Yeah, I mean, the official answer is absolute. By the way, I've never had massage insurance in my entire life.
Okay.
Never. But two things. Three things really now I'm thinking about it. One is massage insurance is super cheap because massage therapists almost never get sued. For about $150 a year, you can get $10 million of coverage. Yeah, it's outrageous because it doesn't happen that often for malpractice type stuff. So one is maybe you should just get it. And a lot of massage associations, by the way, they include it with the membership. They're like, become a national massage therapist and blah, 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 which is sometimes nice. And you get like continuing ed and a massage magazine with cool stuff and regularly, and then you get the insurance too, and it's kind of worth it. So most therapists have massage insurance. I'm unusual in that regard. So that's one thing, is it's cheap. Secondly, when you're going to their home, if they slip in their home, it's unlikely that you'll get in trouble. That'll probably get covered under their home insurance, their kind of stuff. They can only probably sue you just for the massage in their home, and that's going to be pretty hard to prove. So that's the the second thing, and I forget what the third thing is. I thought I had a third good point, Miss Estes, but anyway, it's cheap, and if you're going to their home, I'm not too worried about it either way. Yeah. My third thing, just remembered now. This sounds terrible, but it's true. It depends on what you have to lose. If you're rich, get some insurance. If you're worth $10 million, you get some insurance, because if I find out you're worth $10 million and you messed up a massage, I wouldn't do it. But my point is, you're easy pickings, right? At the Princess, we didn't worry about it because you're not going to sue the therapist of the Princess. You're going to sue the Princess. They're the ones with the deep pockets, right? But with the greatest of respect, most of you probably aren't worth suing. I don't want to go after the $15 you have in your bank account, that kind of stuff. So anyway, insurance actually for that kind of stuff, it really depends on your net worth. That's the final thing. So if you're feeling like, yeah, I'm worth a lot, I'm sitting pretty comfortable now, and it's worth $150 to kind of make sure I stay that way, I can understand that. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Those are my three things. Thank you. Those are good questions. Miss Morris, sorry, Miss Matas. Did you have something to say, ma'am?
So I have a stupid question.
No, you do not have a stupid question.
Is there insurance for our hands in case anything ever happened to us?
So that is not a stupid question, and I looked into this 20 years ago. So I was the sole provider for my family. I used to be married, and I had twins, and and my wife at the time stayed home, and I was the sole provider, and I looked into, what's it called? Liability insurance, what we were just talking about, but essentially like what you're talking about, insuring your hands, insuring loss of work stuff, essentially is what I was looking at, insuring kind of a workman's comp kind of insurance. What happens if something happens to me and I couldn't get it? And the underwriting company said, hey, here's why we won't insure you. They said, you can claim anything and claim you can't do massage. So it's not just your hands. You could say you hurt your ankles and you can't stand to do massage anymore. You could say you hurt your knees and you can't stand to do massage anymore. You could say you hurt your back, your shoulders, your neck, your hands, your wrists, your elbows. It's an easy claim for you, whereas most people working in an office can say, I hurt my back, and they can say, well, that's fine, we'll pay for therapy for your back, but you can still go to work and sit down at the desk, right? But massage therapists need their whole body, and so it's hard. At least I couldn't do it back then. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
That said, I will tell you all to take care of your hands. So, and I even mean in the simplest terms. So I'm not somebody who like really worries about stuff, but when I work around the house, I love working around the house. When I work around the house, I wear gloves because you get like a little nick on your finger doing some home project. It's really hard to massage, you know? And so I'm not worried about like sawing my arm off kind of stuff. I'm more worried about the little stuff you do. Like you're out in the yard working and you get some scrapes across your hand and now you got to rub people and there's eucalyptus in the oil and you're like, ah, that kind of stuff. So take care of your hands. I really would kind of glove up, be more careful with your hands. If you're not somebody who isn't already. I wasn't. I was always like, what's the big deal? But yeah, I got really careful with my hands for that reason. And even to this day, kind of careful with them now. Yeah. Okay. Aromatherapy, they talk about all these essential oils. Aromatherapy, by the way, is a class that you can take for continuing ed. So that's not my way of saying I'm not going to teach you aromatherapy. Well, I'm not, but that's not my point. My point is it's one of those great continuing ed things. If you're really into aromatherapy, you can take like a whole day course. I took a college course on aromatherapy once for my continuing ed. It was like a, 8-week course. It was kind of neat. The teacher actually had us make up aromatherapy stuff and we used diffusers, but we also were eating like herbs and we were trying out all this different stuff. It was really kind of cool. So that's something kind of neat to research if you're into it. Lavender is considered, by the way, to be the universal oil. It's the one that's safe for almost everybody, and it's supposed to be calming. That's why you see them put it in everything. Okay. I don't have. I was just trying to think if I had anything else I had to really tell you guys about. I already told you about this, but your book talks about it too, about your environment being scented. If it is scented, if your environment is scented, make sure it's scents that almost everybody likes because you sure don't want to exclude clients. And this is the vanilla and lavender and valerian and jasmine. And I even, like, lavender is so popular and I love it. But I have met people who don't like lavender and will not come get a massage if that's what you've got. So just kind of be careful about scenting your facilities. And that said, by the way, they should have some kind of pleasant scent though because of the way people associate scents with things. If you have a massage room at home, it's really nice if you have dimmable lights because you want the lights low. But speaking of problems that can happen at home, lawsuits outside of the massage, they often happen in dark areas, right? So once the client's kind of waking up, you need to turn up the lights because that's when problems happen. They can't find stuff, they fall off the table, they run into stuff, things like that. So adjustable lighting's a big deal. It is common sense, but still something to think about. So your book says that OSHA recommends 68 to 76 degrees for massage. I can tell you your clients recommend 80 degrees for the massage room, and I recommend 52 degrees for the massage room. The client obviously wants the room warm, and you want to stay cool. Because once you start working, I hope you guys have noticed this in lab already. Once you start working, you're warm. You're really warm usually, especially once you start really working, and that will come. So different therapists combat this different ways. Some of the really clever stuff I've seen is, well, table warmers is always a good idea because you can keep the room cool, but the table's warming the client. Also fans down at floor level. So they blow across your legs, but not the client. It's a really good trick to use. And fans kind of create white noise in the room too, that kind of humming that can be kind of good, right? Just cut out other noises. Just things to think about. Well, they say rich shades of red, orange, and yellow create warm and cozy feelings. I'm not sure that's true. I'm not even going to comment. Yeah, so your book makes a big thing about professional appearance and about ink, about body art and stuff like that. And that some clients, certain generations don't view that so well. I gotta tell you, in this day and age, I've never seen a problem with it anymore. It used to be people wouldn't, yeah, you like that, Mr. Brown? You're like, yeah, good. Oh, good, yeah, yeah. That's minor too. I mean, I wouldn't get a forehead tattoo, but it's just, it's not a big deal. Most places don't care. I do want to warn you, there are a couple of places out there, some really high-end spas that will still kind of discriminate against you for having ink. But really, most places don't care anymore. They don't care. It's not, your book says they care, but I haven't found that to be a problem anymore. It's become mainstream.
Being black, and I was like, oh, well, can't get around that.
Yes. Well, I hate to say, I'm sure that happens too. But yeah, you can't get around that. Yeah. Well, you can't get around the ink too. You're black and you've got the ink. You're stuck with both. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I don't think the ink's a problem anymore. I really don't. Yeah. And for spas, speaking of like what spas look for and stuff, what they tend to look for is vibrant and healthy. They want people to kind of come in and they kind of shine because that's the image they're selling, right? Just like if you go to a hairstylist, you want to see great hair. So. Watch out for steps in your house. You'll notice spas have ramps everywhere. Oh, this is good. I'm so glad. Okay. Let's be very clear because the way I teach and stuff like that, I'm not expecting anybody to get anything today. Like, that's not the point. Not the point at all. The point is to introduce the concept to you, introduce it again, remind you about it again, elaborate on it again, have you regurgitate it later, all that kind of stuff. And we have to kind of start somewhere. And there are some major muscles in the body that some of you might be familiar with and some of you might not be familiar with. If you've never heard of any of these before, that would be understandable. But at least once you get kind of used to kind of their names and kind of general locations and things like that. Okay? So this just gives us a chance to play with some of this stuff because we've got like an hour left with each other. And this is the stuff that will pay off big, big, big in your massage practice, is just knowing where muscles are. Heaven forbid somebody come in and say, I want you to work on my gastrocnemius, and you start rubbing their head. This is not where the gastrocnemius is, just so you know. It's not here either. It's not here. It's not here. It's way down here. Okay, so let's actually start out with the lower leg, okay? And I will ask you questions along the way just to make sure you're engaged. If you completely flub them up, it's okay. It's not a test, remember? I'm speaking to some of you more than others that stress about these things. It's completely okay. So one thing is, in massage, just so you know, this is not a leg. This is the thigh, and your thigh is not your leg in massage, physical therapy, and true anatomy. What I mean is we don't use that term. I know all of us, if I talked about my legs to you at a dinner party, I'd mean my entire leg. But it's not that way in massage. This is your thigh, this is your leg. So the thing below your knee is your leg. Yeah? This is a thigh, this is a leg. Yeah? Does that make sense? Cool. Mr. Brown, what am I grabbing right now, sir?
A leg.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, what am I grabbing now?
A thigh.
Thank you, sir. Excellent. Miss Mares, what am I grabbing right now?
Leg,
Yep. And what am I grabbing now?
the thigh,
Yeah. What about now?
the thigh,
Yeah. What about
the
now?
other thigh.
Thank you. Cool. Miss Estes. What am I grabbing now? There's no trick question here, by the way. I'm not that tricky. What am I grabbing now?
Well, that would be the leg.
The leg. Thank you. And what am I grabbing now?
I think that's the thigh.
Cool. Can I ask you a question? I haven't explained this yet.
Yes.
But which thigh am I grabbing, the left or the right?
Oh, well, that would be the left thigh on that person.
And which thigh am I grabbing now?
That would also be the left thigh.
Yes. So, whether it's on your right or your left doesn't matter. When we talk about, as Miss Estes just taught us all, when we talk about a client's thigh or anything, their eyeball, it's their left. And we do that because the client might be laying face down, they might be face up, they might be doing a handstand, they might be doing the splits, whatever. The left leg is their left leg, even if their left leg is on your right, right? This is their left, I'm sorry, I said it wrong, to their left thigh. Left leg, left thigh. It's the client's left, it's the client's right. Does that make sense? We'll find out. Miss Hawks, what am I grabbing right now?
You are grabbing the thigh.
Yes, which thigh?
The right thigh.
That is correct. Thank you very much, ma'am. What am I grabbing now?
Now you are grabbing the leg.
Yes, which one?
The left leg.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Miss Suriel, what am I grabbing right now?
You are grabbing the left thigh.
That is correct. What am I grabbing now?
The left leg.
Yes, you're exactly right. Miss Suriel, you sound far too confident and far too intelligent, so let's add some more to this, okay? Don't shake your head. We know it's true. So, this area down here is where your calves are. You hear people talk about your calves. You guys probably know that. This is your calves. Your calves are found in your leg. They're actually found on the back side of the leg. So, but we don't call this the back side of the leg. We call it the posterior leg. Posterior. This is posterior thigh. Posterior leg. This is the posterior torso region. Posterior means back. So this is the back side. So now let's be more precise, Miss Suriel. What am I grabbing now?
You're grabbing the left leg, posterior leg.
Oh my gosh. You are my new favorite student, right? Yeah, I'm grabbing the left posterior leg. I couldn't get better than that. That's fantastic. Miss McDowell, what am I grabbing now?
The right thigh, posterior.
Thank you. Right posterior thigh. Cool, cool, cool. Thank you very much. Miss Walker Y. Miss Walker Y. Miss Walker Y, what am I grabbing right now?
The left anterior thigh? Is that what it's called?
All day long. Yeah. I actually forgot that I flipped around and hadn't taught you anterior yet, but you're right. You're right. So anterior means front. Posterior means back. Miss Walker's going to run all these through with us right now just to make sure we're all clear. Thank you very much, Miss Walker. Miss Walker, so what was this again?
The left anterior thigh.
Yeah. What's this?
The right anterior leg.
Yeah. What's this?
Right posterior thigh.
Yeah. What's this?
Left posterior leg.
Leg. Thank you, ma'am. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Miss Allure. Miss Allure, what's this?
The left is the anterior thigh.
Yeah, left anterior thigh. Cool. Again, by the way, don't feel bad, anybody, if you get these wrong. I really mean that. But you got it dead on right. What's this over here?
That's gonna be the right posterior calf or leg.
Yeah, right posterior leg. However, it is where the calf is found, and your calf is actually made up of 3 muscles. So there are 3 muscles. There's more than this, really, but there's 3 main muscles kind of found in your posterior leg. Yeah, very cool. What's that, Miss Allure? You want to learn the names?
Okay.
You want to learn the names of the 3 muscles in the posterior leg? Absolutely. I wasn't going to do it yet, but let's do it. Okay, since you brought it up. So, this muscle on top is called the gastrocnemius. Here, I'll tell you what. I've got it on a slide here, too. Not a picture of the muscle, but I've got it on a slide in case you guys want to know how it's spelled. I don't know if this helps you or not, or if it messes up your screen. Let's see. But, yeah. Gastrocnemius. Gastrocnemius. Miss Allure, what's this muscle right here on top called? I can say it with you too if you need help.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I was on mute. Did you call it gastrocnemius?
Yeah, gastrocnemius.
Gastroc.
Gastrocnemius. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Gastrocnemius. Yep, I'll take it. Miss Walker T. Miss Walker T, where you be? Miss Walker T. There you are. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Miss Walker T. Do you know what this muscle is called that's back here in the posterior leg?
Gastrocnemius.
Gastrocnemius. By the way, everybody, when you see usually a runner, sometimes cyclists, but usually a runner, and they've got that really defined upside down W on the back of their leg, where you see the 2 pieces of the muscle come down underneath there, that is their gastrocnemius. That's what you're seeing. It is the thing that gives that double bump to the back of their leg. It is the most superficial muscle, which means it's most on the surface, and it's called the gastrocnemius, and it's what gives that cut to their leg. Yeah, I would show you on mine, but I don't want to show off, but they're amazing. They're not, by the way. Anyway, thank you very much, gastrocnemius. Thank you very much, Miss Walker. I appreciate that. Yes. Miss Sarno. Hi, Miss Sarno. This will be hard, but we're going to do it together, okay? Do you know what this muscle is called? And I can say it with you, by the way. Can we do it together?
Yes.
Say gas.
Gas.
Truck.
Truck.
Knee.
Knee.
Me.
Me.
Us.
Us.
Yeah. By the way, for those of you that English is your second language, just so you know, you're helping all the English speakers because these are really hard words to say. Trust me.
Yeah.
So, gas.
Gas.
Truck.
Gas. Truck. Linear.
Now you're showing off. Now you're just showing off. Gastrocnemius. That's right. What was it again? I'm kind of hard of hearing. Could you say it one more time, Miss Sarno?
Gas. Truck. Linear.
Yes. Gastrocnemius. Thank you very much. Mr. Placencia. How are we doing there, sir?
Good.
Good. What's this muscle called?
That is the gastrocnemius.
Yes, it is, sir. Yes, it is. Yep. What? Oh, what'd you say? You want to learn what's underneath it? Okay.
Yeah.
So there is another muscle. You're kind of rushing things, but it's okay, Mr. Placencia. I understand. There's another muscle that's underneath the gastrocnemius that actually kind of gives width to your calf. And it does very similar thing to the gastrocnemius, but it's underneath it. And that's called the soleus. What's the muscle underneath the gastrocnemius called, sir?
That would be the soleus.
Soleus. So we've got the gastrocnemius and then the soleus. Is that what you're saying?
That is precisely what I'm saying.
Thank you very much, sir. Those are 2 of the 3 calf muscles. I like that. Hey, Miss Trotter, what are the 2 calf muscles that we've got here so far?
The gastrocnemius and then the soleus.
Soleus, yeah. Gastrocnemius and soleus. Beautiful. Thank you very much, ma'am. Let's see. Miss Vincent. Let's review some stuff for everybody, Miss Vincent. What am I grabbing right here?
Let me make you bigger.
Yeah, please do.
The left anterior thigh.
Bam! What's this down here?
The right anterior leg.
Thank you. What is this back here? What area first? Don't get the muscles yet.
The leg. The left posterior leg.
Yeah! Really well done. Thank you, ma'am. Left posterior leg. What are the two muscles that we just heard about these are, by the way, your two main calf muscles. They're the big ones. This is what people go to the gym to work out. What are they called?
The gastrocnemius.
Yep, and underneath it, what's that?
Soleus.
Soleus. Yep, soleus. Cool. And then, Miss Vincent, underneath the soleus, it's not even quite underneath the soleus, but even deep down here, there's this teeny, I'm not kidding you, cute, adorable muscle. Its belly is about the size of my thumb, and it's got this really long tendon on it. It's the cutest muscle in your entire body, by the way. And it's called the plantaris. And it's a calf muscle. You don't hear personal trainers talk about it because they don't know their anatomy as well as you guys will when the time you graduate. But the fact is, it is a calf muscle. It does the same thing as the other calves. It's just not big. It's not as interesting to talk about. But it's called the plantaris. So can you tell me the name of the three calf muscles, Miss Vincent, please?
Gastrocnemius, the soleus, and the plantaris.
Yeah. What region of the body would I find those muscles? Where would I find them?
In the leg.
Yep. In the front of the leg?
Posterior.
Posterior leg. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Did I have a hand go up? I heard a little bleep. Oh, yes, Miss McDowell, sorry. Miss McDowell, yes, ma'am.
So I know of like a foot condition that's like plantar fasciitis. Does that have anything to do with this muscle, or is that just kind of a coincidence?
No, it's not a coincidence.
No. Okay.
It doesn't necessarily have something to do with this muscle, but you've hit on something very interesting. Very interesting. And Miss Walker, why I'll come to you in just a second. But Miss McDowell, what you've come on is that we're actually learning a language. And the plantar region is the bottom of your foot. And plantar fasciitis is an inflammation of the bottom of your foot. And the plantaris is called the plantaris because it connects to the bottom of your foot. It doesn't all make perfect sense, just like some of our English terms don't make perfect sense, you know what I mean? But they're all related. So when you learn a lot of these terms, then you can figure other stuff out. Like people will be talking to me about stuff that I've never heard about before, but it's medical-based stuff, and I can figure out what they're talking about because I have enough of the language. So your plantar region, the plantar region of your body is the bottom of your foot. The plantaris is called that kind of because it connects to that. Plantar fasciitis is inflammation of the plantar region of your foot, the fascia of the plantar region of the foot. So I'm really glad you asked that question. Yeah, it's kind of the place we're headed, yes. Miss Walker, why? What's your question, ma'am, or comment?
Are the soleus and the plantaris, are they like beneath the gastrocnemius or below it?
Yeah,
like
let me stop sharing this. If you can, you might want to pin me to your screen for a second so you can see this guy because he's not that big. Let's get him. But I think it'll let me do this. This is the gastrocnemius. And it's not going to let me pull off, well, it might actually. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Oh yeah, I see what it's going to do. Okay, hold on. Well, stand there, buddy. So, just make sure he doesn't fall over. These things cost like $500. All right. So this is the gastrocnemius. Okay. And by the way, it's a model, so it's not perfect. But this is it's a two-bellied muscle, and so it's got this kind of, they call it the baby's butt or the W or whatever. If we were to take it off, you take off both sides, but underneath it is the soleus. So it's actually underneath. And it's really hard, you can't even see it in this thing, but this long thing coming up is a tendon going to the plantaris. So to answer your question much more simply, yes, they're underneath the gastrocnemius. And what's really cool about your question is that and difficult, by the way, is that we are all using a book and a video here to learn about anatomy, right? But people aren't flat. They're three-dimensional. And massage therapists, very much like submarines, unlike ships, we don't sail on the top of the water, right? We go underneath. We don't actually care so much about what's out there, we care about what's down there. And so somebody pointing to this and going, well, that's the gastrocnemius, okay, that's cool, and that's important to know, but you better darn well know what's underneath it, because as a massage therapist, I'm often heading down here. I'm often heading to the soleus, so you have to think in a very different way. So I love your question, thank you. Yeah, they are layered. And just to let you know how we would talk about that, we would say the gastrocnemius is the most superficial of the three calf muscles. Do we all know superficial people, right? They just kind of keep it light, kind of surface, don't really ever get anything kind of deep. Nothing wrong with that, by the way, it wasn't a judgment about that. Just trying to make a point. So superficial means that same thing. It means that it stays on the surface, superficial, yeah? Superficial stays on the surface. I don't even know if I can get that calf back in. And the term we use for stuff that's deep is deep. So we would say that the gastrocnemius is superficial to the other calf muscles, or we'd say the soleus is deep to the gastrocnemius, and the plantaris is deep to the gastrocnemius. That'd be a very common term to use. And by the way, everybody, like, it would really hurt my feelings deeply, but if you were tuning all this out right now, we will go over this, like, line for line later. I'm just introducing these concepts because it makes it so much easier later when we start talking about it if you've heard them before, if that makes sense, right? So we've already actually kind of talked about a lot of stuff, and Ms. Walker wants to review, I know, all the stuff that we've learned so far. Thank you, Ms. Walker, I appreciate it. So far we've learned that we don't use the word front. What do we use, Ms. Walker, instead of front?
Anterior.
Anterior, thank you very much, Ms. Walker. And we don't use the word back, we use the word what?
Posterior.
Posterior. And we don't refer to the entire leg. Really, this upper part's called the
Thigh.
yeah, and this lower part's called the
Leg.
And the posterior part of the leg has the calf muscles in there, and there are three calf muscles, and what were those?
Gastrocnemius, soleus, and plantaris.
Yeah, and by the way, I would say her pronunciation was almost 100% perfect. It probably is 100% perfect, I just don't know, but my point is, because you can say it in different ways, that was spot on right. And Ms. Walker was also pointing out to all of us that the most superficial of the three calf muscles is what, Ms. Walker?
Gastrocnemius.
Gastrocnemius.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you are. Yeah. Gastrocnemius. And by the way, I mean, when you hear British people say it, it's slightly different and things like that, but you're saying it perfect, as far as I'm concerned. By the way, Latin is where all Romance languages come from. So my Spanish-speaking students tend to actually do better with anatomy because Spanish is a Romance language. And so if you kind of pronounce some of these terms with a little bit of a Spanish kind of inflection, they work pretty good. The other trick I will tell you all, and it sounds like I'm joking, but I really mean it, is if you'll also say these terms as though you're Harry Potter, that really helps. This is the gastrocnemius. That's how they're said, right? Everything sounds like a magic spell in anatomy. Soleus, plantaris. Right, anyway. So, and what were the two deepest calf muscles, Miss Walker, you were telling us?
Soleus and plantaris.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Cool. Yeah. I like that. Okay. Yeah, sorry, question?
Yes.
Mr. Blygen, yes, please, sir, go.
Before we go too far, and also just to piggyback on the one question about plantar fasciitis, so in order to treat plantar fasciitis, would you work on the plantaris because it's connected to that area, to the plantar region?
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad approach.
Okay.
So definitely, I mean, reducing strain in that area is definitely a good idea, and so you'd actually work all three calf muscles for sure. Yeah. You might want to work the plantar fascia directly, and we'll kind of talk about what plantar fascia is later, but you're on the right track. I definitely would. If you came into me with plantar fasciitis, I'd work your calf muscles for sure. That would be part of the treatment. Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. It's a really good question. Miss Routsan? Routsan? Try to, sorry, honestly, try not to destroy your name. So, Miss Routsan, let's talk about these muscles and then maybe learn a couple new ones. How's that sound?
Okay.
Okay. So, back here, what are the names of the three calf muscles?
The gastrocnemius, the soleus, and the plantaris.
Yeah, gastrocnemius, soleus, and plantaris. Good job. Cool. If we move up the leg, we get to some muscles here in the posterior thigh. Posterior thigh. Bless you, by the way.
Thank you.
And what we get to back here are called the hamstrings. Hamstrings. And there happens to be 3 hamstrings, just like there was 3 calves. Yep. So, Miss Routsan, the first hamstring is called, say your name one more time just for me, because you smile every time I say it, which tells me I'm saying it wrong.
I kind of like the way you say it.
Yeah, that's very
just
sweet.
Routsan.
What?
It's just Routsan.
You're right, I'm trying to put more emphasis in it. Routsan.
Made it
Better?
more fancy. It's okay.
Yeah, I kind of consider you royalty, so, I'm trying to. All right, Miss Routsan, thank you, by the way, for your patience with me. Miss Routsan, one of the muscles found back here is called the biceps femoris. It's one of your hamstrings. Can you say biceps?
Bicep.
Cool, and can you say femoris?
Femoris.
Yeah. By the way, this is very interesting, everybody, because most people think this is their biceps. And they're right, but they're not saying the full name. This is the biceps brachii. Brachii means arm. This is the biceps femoris found on your femur. We'll explain that more later, but I just want to let you know there is actually 2 biceps in your body. So now next time people are like, I'm working my biceps, you can be like, which ones? Yeah. Anyway, biceps femoris. And Miss Routsan, the other 2 are kind of tricky to say, but they both start with semi. Semimembranosus. Do you want to say that one?
Semimembranosus.
And semitendinosus. Yeah. Cool. Thank you, ma'am. Just for review, what were those 3 muscles again?
Bicep, femoris, semimembranosus.
Yeah.
And semitendinosus.
Yep, you got it. You nailed it. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's fantastic. Mr. Blygen?
Yeah.
Can we review all these muscles so far? What are the 3 calf muscles?
The 3 calf muscles are the gastrocnemius, wait a minute, I'm trying to go from memory. Soleus and the plantaris.
I like it. Gastrocnemius, soleus, and plantaris. And by the way, I'm not correcting him. Soleus is probably just as valid as soleus. Gastrocnemius, soleus, and plantaris. Thank you very much, sir. And what are the 3 hamstring muscles? And they're up in the slide too. Go ahead.
Biceps femoris, semimembranosus, and semitendinosus.
Semimembranosus and semitendinosus. Yeah. Very cool. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. Boom. Oh, sorry. I'm just going to change my screen here. Bear with me. All right. Okay, let me go back here. All right. Miss Carodi. Miss Carodi? Are you there? I know you are.
Yes.
Yes, Miss Carodi. We have 3 calf muscles. They're down here. 3 calf muscles. I want to say them with you. The first one is gastrocnemius. Can you say it?
Yeah. Gastrocnemius.
That was actually really good. No, that was good. Gastrocnemius. I like it. Bam. The second one is soleus.
Soleus.
Bam. Second one. Thank you very much. And the next one is plantarus.
Plantarus.
You're done. Thank you. Perfect. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Miss Jun? Are you there?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 calf muscles. I want you to say them with me. Gastrocnemius.
Gastrocnemius.
That's perfect. Soleus.
Soleus.
Perfect. Plantaris.
Plantaris.
Is. Beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Miss McDowell, what do you think? Should we go up a little bit higher and learn a couple more? Miss McDowell, nod your head. Give me a flexion, an extension, flexion, extension. Good. Thank you very much. Miss McDowell, let's review before we move on though for everybody, right? What are the 3 calf muscles?
The gastrocnemius, the soleus, and the plantaris.
Yeah. Which 2 are deep?
The soleus and the plantaris.
Yeah. Which one's superficial?
The gastrocnemius.
Yeah. If I go up here, what area am I in when I'm up here?
You're in the anterior thigh. Oh, posterior.
Yeah, posterior thigh, thank you. And what muscles are found back here? What's the muscle group found back here?
The hamstring muscles.
Yes, you're doing fantastic, by the way. The hamstring muscles, and what are their names? And they are on the slide in case you need help.
I don't know where their location is, because you didn't tell us that yet, but the biceps femoris, semimembranosus, and semitendinosus.
Yeah. Miss McDowell, this is literally just for you, just because you asked. I wouldn't normally teach it yet. It's not really that important yet, but it becomes very important later. But you want to know their locations?
Well, it'll mess up my notes if they're not there.
Yeah, no, I understand. That's why I said this is literally just for you, because I know you want like tight organization. The one that's most lateral on the outside, we call this lateral, this is why I haven't taught it yet, is the biceps femoris. The 2 that are found inside or medial are the semimembranosus and semitendinosus. So it kind of goes biceps femoris, semitendinosus, semimembranosus.
Excuse me, Michael?
Yeah!
The last 2, the both semis, are they superficial? Can you see them?
Yeah, oh my gosh, yes, here. Yeah, let's take our guy over here, guys. So, they're amazing muscles, by the way, and they're really often forgotten. So do you guys see how there's like 2 ropes here? It's hard to explain right now because I don't want to get into a lot of stuff yet, just because we have to build some other stuff on here. But each of these ropes kind of represents kind of like 2 heads of a muscle. And bi means 2. So this is the biceps femoris, and the semimembranosus and semitendinosus are over here. So you can see it, they're very superficial. When you rub the back of somebody's leg, you are rubbing their hamstrings. They're very superficial. They are the first thing you rub besides their skin. So they're as superficial as the gastrocnemius is. So it's a great question, and they are superficial. In that sense, in the sense you're asking, sir. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Miss McDowell? So now we've got, what were the three, we got to go back now, all right? Because he threw us off. We got to start all over again. I'm sorry, but it's not my fault. I don't make the rules, Miss McDowell. What are the three calf muscles?
The gastrocnemius, the soleus, and the plantaris.
Yeah. What are the three hamstring muscles? Let's start from the outside. I won't do this thing.
The biceps femoris.
Yeah.
The semimembranosus and the semitendinosus.
Yeah, and if you want to get really nitpicky, I'd say semitendinosus and semimembranosus. I'd make the membranosus the most inner thigh one. If you want really, 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 really precise notes. All right, cool. So let's move on up. Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes.
Wait, so
Miss
you
Walker.
said the semimembranosus is before this or the semitendinosus is before the semimembranosus?
Yeah. Yeah, let me draw something on the board for you guys. You guys are too smart. You're asking too hard of questions. Okay. Which makes me really happy, because we will get into all this later. Let me quit sharing this, because you need to see me. You might want to pin me to your screen here. Let's see here. There's my board. Cool. All right. And bear with me. And maybe we'll even come on over here a little bit. Oh, woo! Okay. All right. This is actually kind of cool. Okay, let's see. We can't use red because it doesn't show up well. All right. For reasons that I'll have to explain later, and because I can't draw, we're looking at the back side of a body, and believe it or not, we often represent the hips like this, like a triangle. And your legs kind of come down like this. Here's your knees, the back of your knees going down into your feet. Hips, knees, down into your feet. Okay? This is your femur. This is your thigh bone, your femur. Okay? Can you see that? Okay, good. Okay. So here's the scoop. Anybody know why a bicycle is called a bicycle?
It has two wheels.
It has two wheels. The word the word bi means two. So the biceps femoris, seps actually means heads in Latin. Bi means two, seps means heads, so it's a two-headed muscle.
Is that with the same with the I forgot what you called it, but the
biceps brachii? Yeah.
Brachii.
Your biceps brachii is actually a two-headed muscle just found on the arm region. So biceps femoris is a two-headed muscle found on the femur. And by the way, if anybody feels like this is too much, don't worry about it. We're going to come back to it 17 more times. This is just side, geeky massage talk. Yeah.
And I'm just going to take a shot in the dark here.
Yeah, please do.
The tricep is a three-headed muscle, but it also has a second name.
I knew when I first met you, that we were going to get along really, really good. So your tricep that's on the back of your arm is a three-headed muscle, as you just said, and it's called triceps brachii. Brachii means arm. Three-headed muscle found on the arm. Biceps brachii, triceps brachii. Three-headed muscle, two-headed muscle. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Okay. But the biceps femoris is a two-headed muscle found in the femur. And it essentially, it's kind of hard to explain, but it essentially it hooks to the outside of the leg like this, and then another one comes down like the leg like that. That's the biceps femoris. So, comes down like this, another one hooks to the femur and comes down like that. Then, the semitendinosus does this, and the semimembranosus does this. Semitendinosus does this, semimembranosus does that. 3 muscles, 4 heads, 2 on each side. Doesn't matter if this is going over your head right now, by the way. Doesn't matter. Don't stress. Don't worry. Doesn't matter. It's just good that you've heard it before. Trust me. This whole class is designed to handle that. But it's very helpful. You've got these two heads pulling on your leg evenly. Yeah. Do you still have your hand up, sir? Mr. Brown, do you have more? Yes? Of course?
Yeah, I just put my hand up, but I think Tessa had her hand up first.
Oh, please, please, please. Sorry. Yes, Miss Walker.
Yes, I was just wondering if you could explain, like, what a two-headed muscle actually means. I mean, obviously it means it's attaching in two places, but does that mean that muscle is like one and then splits into two?
Yeah. That's a really good question, too. This is what happens at the beginning of class, by the way, is we have to give you all this background material before we can really do anything. And you guys keep asking really good questions. But this is extra material. This isn't even designed to be part of today's lesson, so this is great. I'm going to answer that question. And then, Miss Trotter, I saw you had your hand up too, right? We'll come to you, right? Or was that your question?
No, I have like a different question.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, don't let me forget, because I'll get kind of sidetracked here, but let's look at this first. All right, everybody. This is Muscles 101. You will see this again, but this is kind of cool stuff. So, really, muscles do this is a bone, right? And this is another bone. And muscles usually connect between two bones. Now, by the way, the one thing that's highly inaccurate about this drawing is they never connect in the middle of bones like this. I just want you to remember muscles connect to bones. So those are just for representation. They're placeholders. Muscles never connect in the middle of bones like this. Well, not like this, okay? But they do attach to two bones. That's important. And we would kind of call this a head. We would call this a head. We really would. But when muscles share a site like this, where they attach, if there's another muscle that comes off here, even if it goes to a different place on the bone, we might call this the second head. Because they meet at the same place over here, even if they're going to two different places over here. And that's what happens with your biceps femoris and your biceps brachii. They both go to different places, but they start at the same place. And so they say, well, these are like two shoots from the same flower, two branches from the same tree. And that's where the two-headed kind of concept comes from. Did that answer your question, or you want more?
No, that answers it.
Cool. Yeah. And by the way, here's the other thing that's going to make all this more confusing. A whole bunch of, a whole bunch of old white guys like me named these things as they came across them, and it wasn't one guy that did it. And they didn't always do it the same way. If it was one guy or one girl, that would have been better, that had named all the muscles, they would have been nicely organized, right? Somebody like Miss McDowell, who likes organization. She would have organized them using the exact same terms every single time. But that's not what happens. Somebody like me comes along and cuts into some part of the body and goes, we shall call this. And so sometimes they use it the same, sometimes they don't. But in general, seps always means heads, and bi always means two. I mean, you're fine with that. But so they'll use different ways to name muscles. And some people use different systems than others. They all use Latin. They all do that. But I just meant it doesn't always 100% follow. But seps comes from two muscles coming off the same section. However, I can find examples in your body of two muscles coming off the same section that aren't called seps. That's the problem.
Okay.
Because somebody else came along and said we're not going to call it that in that situation. But that's why they're called biceps. It's two muscles coming out. And your triceps, honestly, your triceps are three muscles coming off the same point, going to three different areas. And that's on the back of your arm. your triceps all connect to here on your elbow, but they all branch out to different places, and that's why they're called the triceps. Does that help? Yeah, I hope. Good. I'll get you in a second, Mr. Brown. Miss Trotter?
Okay, so my question was more like, well, I guess like, because would like the different like parts of the same muscle, like so like the bicep femoris, like if one was like more powerful over the other like head, I guess, could that like affect like how you move it, or would it be like the bicep femoris and then the other two, like would one of those could be stronger, and would that affect like the person like and how they move and stuff, or?
So are you? Hold on, Ms. Trotter. So you're saying with my little diagram here, and the knee here, and the leg here, and the diagram here, these horrible diagrams, knee there, and when I said, hey, there's this kind of muscle on the outside leg, another head over here, and then on this side, I know red doesn't show up as good, but there's this kind of thing here. You're saying if you were stronger on one side or whatever, could that cause an imbalance in the knee? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So on the second day of class, are you encapsulating almost the entire philosophy of structural massage? Yes.
I guess.
Yes, you are. Yeah. You couldn't be more right. As massage therapists, we look for stuff like this. In fact, it's really hard to explain, but it's not that hard to explain. Actually, let me tell you. Since these heads are so close to one another, they can get glued up in here. I don't show that well on the board because I didn't draw them well. But remember, these things, I put them separate so you guys could see them. But on your body, they're like this and like this, and they can get glued up in between, gummed up in here, stuck together kind of, so that when this side pulls, it pulls on this side a little bit. And your brain is highly intelligent. It's trying to tell them out exactly how much to pull. There's all this stuff that I'm doing right now, just walking up to the camera right now, that my brain precisely controls. And I'm not exaggerating, like thousands of things, precisely pulling the muscles just right. And if those things are glued up, or one side's stronger, or they're stuck to one another, or one side's shorter, or anything like that, it can destroy your knee. Absolutely. And that's structural anatomy. You should speak up more often. Thank you. That's brilliant. Yes. This is the kind of thinking I want. Fantastic. Okay. So, good. Oh, Mr. Brown, I'm sorry, sir. Sorry. Ms. Trotter took me down a rabbit hole. What's your question, sir? Or comment?
Well, now that we done went somewhere else, I kind of feel redundant going back. But
circular.
We were talking about the posterior back of the leg. No, thigh.
Well, I mean, this is posterior thigh, but yes.
The quads. Where do they fit in? Is that?
Okay. You asked. So, let's look. Let's hold on. I gotta back you. We gotta back up again. Okay. So, sir, you are taking us all over the place, and so you need to be kind enough to review for everybody before we go to the quads. Okay. I mean, you got to be a gentleman. It's the only kind of thing to do. All right. I don't know what else to tell you to do. Okay. All right. There's our little guy. Cool. Do you know they make a life-size one of these, like my size, and I wanted it, but it's honest to God like something like $8,000. Yeah. Okay. So the little guy's a lot cheaper. So, sir, what region of the leg is this? Well, I kind of told you half of it.
Posterior leg.
Yeah. And what muscle group do I find back here?
The gastrocnemius, the plantaris, and the soleus.
Thank you. Okay. The calves, gastrocnemius, soleus, plantaris. Then what area is this here?
That is the posterior left thigh.
Yeah, we'll take it. And what muscles are found back there?
Those ones I wasn't good on. It was the sin.
Am I sharing right now?
Huh?
No, I was seeing if I was sharing. Do you want me to put up the names?
Yes, please. I'm terrible with the pronunciation.
No, it's okay. I'm happy to say I'm with you too.
I think I can do the no, I can't. All right,
Okay, hold on, everything. Which are you trying to say the semis?
Yeah, the semi-tendinous.
Yeah, tendinosis.
Tendinosis, and then the bicep femoris. That one was easy, and the
Brenosis. Yeah.
Brenosis.
Semitendinosis, semimembranosis. Yeah. Good job. Cool.
Those ones.
Okay. Okay. Now we can go to the front of the body. Cool. So, what am I grabbing now?
The anterior left thigh.
Yeah, that's true. Now we're going to talk about the quads. You asked about the quads, right?
Yeah.
Cool. They actually don't just exist. They exist in the front of the leg. That's what everybody talks about, and that's true. But they actually also make up the side of your leg, and that's what a lot of people don't realize. We call the sides of your body lateral. The inside's medial, right? Lateral's to the outside. So we would say this is the anterior part of the leg. Anterior part of the thigh. This is the lateral part of the thigh. The quads exist in the anterior, we say anterior lateral compartments. It's just an expression we use when we're talking about the thighs. So I'm going to tell you about them, but I want to tell you where they exist. All right? The hamstrings, the semimembranosus, semitendinosus, biceps femoris, live in the posterior compartment of the thigh. The quadriceps femoris, which is what you're saying, quads is short for quadriceps femoris, live in the anterior lateral compartments of the leg. Now,
and with the quads, the same applies with the biceps and the triceps, the foreheads, and
yeah, quadriceps femoris means what? Translate that in English for us.
Forehead, and I forgot what you said the femoris means, but it means leg, foreheaded leg muscle.
Yeah, well, your bone here is your femur, so we call this the femoral region. We can call this the thigh, but we can also call it the femoral region. So it's the foreheaded muscle that lives on the femur. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there, of course, are names for each of the heads. There's names for all four quads, right? And you're going to learn them with me right now. And then we're going to teach them to everybody, right? Okay, good. So these are really big muscles, right? Your quads are really big. People's thighs are really big. They're supposed to be, right? So these are really big muscles. And so they really actually have a word in them that means big. Three of the four have a word in them that means big, and it's vastus. And they mean vast, big. It's Latin for big, like vast. So vastus.
Are you saying vast with an F or vast with a V?
Vastus. Like a vast landscape. Vastus. Let me see if I've actually got, hold on. Here, is my slide. Yep, there's the names. Yes. Now, remember how I said that the outside of the body is called lateral and the inside is called medial? The big...
So I'm guessing that the vastus lateralis is on the outside and the vastus medialis is on the inside?
Yep. In fact, you ever seen those bumps down inside of people's knees? Where the quads are, and there's a big quad, kind of big muscle down, a bump down the inside of their knee, kind of? Do you know what I'm talking about? What do you do?
I was looking at my knee.
I love it. So, I just meant when somebody's flexing. Anyway.
Oh, I ain't got enough muscle for that. I'm sorry.
You do. But this right here is the vastus medialis poking through. Right there. So you're right. Vastus lateralis, vastus medialis. There's one in between, which is vastus intermedius, but it's actually underneath this one. The one on top is called the rectus femoris. So, what are their names, sir?
Vastus intermedius.
Yep.
Vastus lateralis.
Yep.
Vastus medialis. Medialis and rectus femoris.
Yeah, good. Those are the 4 quads. And really the long term for quads is quadriceps femoris. Yeah, the 4-headed muscles on the femur. Quadriceps femoris. And they're called 4-headed, back to the point that Miss Walker was asking about. They're called 4-headed because they all attach down to the knee. They branch out of the knee and go to different places. One goes on the lateral side, one goes on the medial side, one goes up the middle, but they all attach down to the knee. All your quads come down to the knee, and that's why they're called the 4-headed muscle stemming from the knee. Quadriceps femoris. Vastus intermedius, vastus medialis, vastus lateralis, and rectus femoris. Yeah. Cool? Cool. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. How are we doing so far? Yeah? Mr. Placencia? You seem like, I mean, you're engaged, but you're, you're chilling. You're chilling. Yeah, I agree. Okay, Mr. Placencia, can we review all this?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Does it help to have the slides up, or do you want to go slideless?
Are we doing the quads too?
Yeah, but I'll help you.
I might need help in the quads, but I got the rest of them.
Okay. Let's do it. Let's go slideless for a second. Just trust me. We'll do it together. Okay.
All right.
So, what are the names of the 3 calf muscles, sir?
So the ones on top are the gastrocnemius, and then underneath you have the soleus and the long things of plantaris.
Good. Gastrocnemius, soleus, plantaris. Thank you. Fantastic. What are the names of the 3 hamstrings?
We got the semimembranosus, semitendinosus, and biceps femoris.
Yeah, semimembranosus, semitendinosus, biceps femoris. Beautifully done. If we flip to the anterior thigh, anterior and lateral thigh, or anterior and lateral femoral compartments, we have the quadriceps femoris, the 4-headed muscle found on the femur. 3 of those have the word vastus in them. So, do you remember what they were? It's okay if you don't.
Not off the top of my head. No.
It's totally cool. Totally cool. So we got a vastus on the lateral side. What do you think we call that?
Not sure.
What? Not sure? Okay. If you were Harry Potter and you were trying to make a fool out of yourself in this class, what would you call a muscle vastus on the lateral side?
Vastus lateralis.
That's not even kind of right. That's 100% right. Vastus lateralis. What would you call a vastus on the medial side?
Vastus medialis.
Yeah. By the way, does anybody know what interstate transport is? Interstate transport? You ever heard the term interstate transport? Like truckers going interstate transport? Drug dealers, interstate transport, get 20 years to life. Just trying to, whatever, So, inter, believe it or not, means between. So, intermedius means between the other muscles. So, vastus intermedius is the 3rd one, and it's actually between the vastus lateralis and medialis. Vastus intermedius. You'll hear that inter term a lot in stuff. And then there's one on top, sir, that doesn't sound like them at all. And that's the rectus femoris. What was that muscle?
Rectus femoris.
Cool. So what were the 4 muscles again?
Vastus medialis, vastus lateralis, rectus femoris,
yeah,
and vastus intermedius.
That was fantastic. Thank you. Mr. Brown, yes, sir.
I had a question, but someone had a question before me though.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not see that person. Who? Who? Anybody? Speak up.
Just a quick question.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Mr. Yeah, go ahead.
All of the 4 quads, are they all superficial?
No. No, Mr. Blige, they are not. So, let's look at them, shall we? Let's see if I can get, I want to get you guys close so you can see, because it's really hard to tell otherwise. So, when you rub the outer side of your leg, your thigh, here, and by the way, I mean, this is a great joke, but I'm actually not trying to be weird. This is the one class where I want you to touch yourself during lecture. Like when I'm talking about something, I really want you to be like, oh yeah, oh yeah, okay, I kind of get it. So if you rub the outside of your leg really hard, one of the things you're rubbing, because it's superficial, is the vastus lateralis. And if you rub kind of the inside of your knee here, but up above your knee, you are rubbing the vastus medialis. They're superficial. And if you rub the top of your thigh, you're rubbing the rectus femoris. But the vastus intermedius, this isn't even a muscle we're talking about right now. No, hold on. The vastus intermedius is actually underneath the rectus femoris. So you rub it, but we call it telegraphing. You rub it by going through the rectus femoris. So the rectus femoris, vastus lateralis, and vastus medialis are superficial. The vastus intermedius is actually underneath the rectus femoris. You'll never touch it directly. It is deep to the rectus femoris. Does that answer your question, Mr. Blige?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Good question. Okay.
So,
yes,
my
sir.
question was, you had stated how things are kind of named via their position and whatnot. Like the lateralis is the lateral side, the medialis is medial side. Why is the rectus femoris named rectus when your rectum is backside?
I like that. Yeah. I wish I could come up with a really quick joke for that. I can't think of anything. When they're using, well, rectum and rectus are different words, even though they sound very similar. I totally get how you're trying to match them up. They're just not. Rectus means up and down, like erect.
Oh, okay.
And it's a muscle that runs up and down. We're going to learn some other muscles that run up and down that have that rectus in them. And this is the muscle that runs up and down on the femur. But it was one of my examples where I'm like, people don't always follow the same stuff. But anyway, the word rectus means up and down, and the rectus runs up and down your femur. That's why they called it that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you. It's a really good question. And by the way, guys, we will actually have an entire class on how muscles are named. And we'll have an entire class on the quads. And we'll have an entire class on the hamstrings. And we'll have a higher class on the calves. And we'll have, like, this is just supplemental stuff. Just so that when I talk about quads next time, you're not like, I've never heard that before in my life. At least you'll be like, yeah, that was something. Was that on the face? I knew it was a muscle. That's good enough for me. Cool? All right. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Woo! That's a lot of stuff. All right. We have, oh good, I'm not presenting anymore. Good. All right. Let's get rid of this really quick. Okay. Okay, so let's wrap up. We've got 6 minutes left, right? Yes? 6 minutes left of class. Let's talk about homework so that everybody's not overwhelmed, okay? You have 2 things of homework. One is there is a test on the chapter that you just read, the massage therapy number 3. In your thing, under assignments, in Canvas, it shows, hold on, I gotta move this guy so you can see. Let's see, 2 test MT3 tools. 2 test Tools. Now, normally this would be due tomorrow morning, but I'm not doing that. It's not due until Monday. You can have the weekend, right? Miss Sarno, do you remember asking me for this? You said, please give me the weekend. You have the weekend. Okay, so we're good. Yes, I heard you. I know this is very stressful, right? You're just learning English and all that kind of stuff. You can have the weekend. So you have the weekend to do this. Don't worry. It's number 2 test, and it's in your assignments. You'll see it. Trust me. But the other thing, unfortunately, you also have that you have the weekend for. The weekend for is number 3, matching. And I think it's matching for, yeah, for chapter 7. MT7. And you will see this in your assignments right now. And you guys will see that it's available till Monday morning, 8 a.m. Which means I know that everybody's going to do it. I know that my procrastinators will put it off till Monday morning at 7 a.m. And some of you will start working on it right now and have it done tonight. But anyway, but do get it done. That's all I ask. Okay? And this gives us time too. Especially if you think you're going to have a really hard time with it, like work on it tonight and then we can talk about it tomorrow or whatever. Again, all of this is in the book. Please don't stress. You're fine. All that good stuff. Yeah. I feel like this was a very, very good second day. Yeah? Yes. Yes, good. Miss Sarno's happy. I'm happy. It's really that simple. Yes. Miss Sarno, let's review really quick the 3 calf muscles. Gastrocnemius, soleus, and plantaris. We're going to say them together, okay? So that everybody remembers. So, Miss Sarno, gastrocnemius.
Gastrocnemius.
That was great.
Okay.
Soleus. No, go ahead. So, gastrocnemius, soleus, and plantaris.
Plantaris.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, are you trying to take a pic? I saw somebody trying to take a picture of that. I'm sorry. Is that better? Yeah. Okay. Good. Any questions? We have 3 minutes left. Oh, Mr. Blygen. Oh, and I'm so sorry. Yes, ma'am. Is that Miss Karodi? Yes, I'm sorry. Miss Karodi doesn't have a hand-raising thing, and she's like waving at me. Yes. Go ahead. Questions?
Yeah, it's a quick question about the homework.
Yeah.
You said we're skipping from chapter 3 to 7, 8, 9 going next.
Yeah.
So only 7 is due on Monday with the matching questions, not 8 and 9. We don't have to do that at all.
100% correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
By the way, we might start doing 8 tomorrow, and that would be due Monday too. I've got. Oh, actually, no. We'll start doing. No. We'll only be 7. You're right.
And then go over 7 tomorrow, and then the weekend.
Yeah, and there'll probably be added stuff about 7 tomorrow, but we'll be sticking with 7. So 3 and 7, 3 and 7. That's it.
So that's what we can. Okay, thank you very much.
No, my pleasure. I'd rather us be clear about stuff. Anything?
I have a question.
Yeah.
MT3 Tools, the quiz for that, is that just based on what we did on the lecture today, or
Yeah.
is it?
I mean, don't get me wrong. Maybe I skipped something, but I wasn't very impressed with the chapter, so I tried to give you a lot of the answers to the test. I will not always do that, by the way. I just thought, it's talking about your table and stuff, and what's the average table width? And I don't think that's really an important takeaway from that lecture, that thing. The important takeaways are wash your hands, wash your sheets, use bleach when you do so, get as wide a table as you can possibly get, things like that. But yes, sir, that will be based off chapter 3 and this lecture that you had today. So here's kind of the method to my madness, right? Hopefully you guys read chapter 3 last night, took a little test on it, just to make sure you read it. Today I talked about chapter 3, and now you'll take a real test on it tonight, and then we're kind of done with that chapter, right? So that's the idea, is kind of multiple touch points for the material. And Mr. Blygen, do you have more to ask, sir?
No, I don't.
Okay, cool. Anybody else? It's 6 p.m. You have all been amazing and patient and kind and laughing and adventurous and brilliant, by the way. Brilliant questions. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Have a good night's rest. We'll see you in lab tomorrow as well. If you have some added question to ask me, I'll stay on for a couple of minutes as people pop off just to make sure there aren't more questions, okay?
Okay.
Cool.
All right, have a good night, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Tate. I appreciate it. You do the same. Good night, Mr. Placencia. Good night. Good night. Good night. Oh, Mr. Brown, please go.
Good night, everybody.
Oh, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Miss Carodi? Did you need something, Miss Carodi? No? Okay, good.